Dragon Ball FighterZ just got patch 1.32 applied by Bandai Namco, and there are a lot of significant changes to explore in this patch that are going to result in team composition shakeups, in metagame composition shakeups. It's going to be a very wild and interesting patch, to say the least. I want to go through the patch changes in a somewhat thematic fashion, so we're going to be grouping some various changes in characters together, just so that we have like the same through line through some of them, as there's a lot of congruent changes across the cast with each other. The first thing I wanted to start off with is the most important change in the entire patch, in my opinion, which is going to be a system mechanic change that applies to 7 characters. To Lab Coat, Vegito, and Gogeta Blue, all of these characters have had their meter build reduced by 50%. Before, this combo would have easily built 2 bars for yourself, and now it only builds 1. And this applies to all 3 of these characters. I'll get into the implications to that in a moment. For characters like Gogeta Red, or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Zamasu, Janemba, and Hit, these characters have only seen a 25% reduction in their meter build. This combo used to break a bar with Gogeta for about 1.25 bars to be exact, and now it doesn't even break a bar. So, we have to discuss the implications of all of this. The implications of that being that the teams that you would see would consist of like Vegito, Lab Coat, and then one of the 2 Gogetas usually. Those would be like the top 2 teams in the metagame, arguably, in the previous patch. The team had everything. It had mix-ups, it had meter dump, it built bar for itself across the cast like crazy. It worked on every fundamental level. It played the game the best. But now, pairing these characters together means that you will forever be at a meter deficit to your opponent. Think about like some of the powerful situations that these characters can put you into. Vegito would love to put people in a situation where he could set up 50-50s after his level 3 by using Vanish. From here, you jump same side sword, same side to M, or jump IAD cross up into an overhead, and your opponent effectively had to guess what you're going to do. For Vegito to do this, he really only needed to hit 2 combos before. He or any of his teammates just had to hit 2 combos. You now have to hit 4 combos to get into this win situation with Vegito and with this team. I don't think you can play these characters together anymore. You certainly can't pair 2 of these characters together anymore. I think that Bandai Namco said, if we nerf the meter build on these characters, they don't have the resources to play with each other. So now you have to have one of these characters on your team. You can't have them all. You could pick one of these characters, and then you have to pick characters that build meter normally in order to play the game. I think that is going to be the implication of it. For characters like Gogeta 4 and Janemba and Hit and Zamasu to some degree, I think it's less important because, one, they didn't get nerfed as drastically, but it will change how they're able to spend some of their resources in general, and we're probably going to see a playstyle shift from these characters. Because of the meter gain subtraction penalty, because of the meter game drop that they have, you're going to see that they're not as rewarded for their special moves before by not usually being a bar plus anymore. I don't play Gogeta 4, so I'm not quite comfortable with my combos. But because of these changes to their meter build and everything, it just means that their powerful EX special moves aren't going to be as often available to them, and they're not going to be as meter positive doing these combos before. Like, compare this situation with Gogeta Blue, a character I do play. Before, he could threaten this EXDP where he would be able to hit you with a combo, do about 4k damage, and build an entire bar. So he could be a bar positive from where he started. Now, as you can see from the meter penalty, he barely gets above. It's not even a quarter of a bar positive after that one. These characters are very powerful EX moves in a lot of regards, especially Lab Coat 21. You would usually get all your bar back for spending it on the EX move, and now you're at a bar deficit. Pardon the training mode for restoring my meter. This means a lot of things, like these characters have really great tools that are expensive in a lot of regards, but now they're going to be falling behind in terms of their meter build gain. I think because of that, you might not see these characters actually anchor anymore with regards to Lab Coat 21 and Vegito. Like I mentioned with Vegito, if he wants to force you into a knockdown situation off of his level 3, he needs to hit you with 4 combos to get that situation, as opposed to 2 combos to get there. That's a massive slowdown in terms of his ability to snowball and to make comebacks in the game. Because of that, I think we're going to see Vegito Blue and Lab Coat 21 exist primarily as mid characters surrounded by characters who can build bar normally, or at least one of the characters that builds 75% of the meter that they used to before. Lab Coat 21 has another change that's incredibly interesting, but also really deals with a lot of the toxic situations that she could put you into. The feature they added. The feature they added is that you can now reflect cancel out of any of her spins. They made it so that all of her spins have a Ki Blast property to them. So if you are grounded and you block these spins, you're actually able to reflect her off of you. This completely changes a lot of situations. Before, Lab Coat could contest your Okazemi with a wake-up spin. It's a frame 1 anti-air option, so if you were airborne trying to meaty, she could basically make you block on your safe jump, and then with an assist, jail into her turn. Now you look at this situation, and she's about like -18. Typically after something like this. This means that she's eating a medium starter punish if she spins without these resources. And again, if she reflects, she's basically asking to be happy birthdayed. If she does have 1 bar, she can do this into a vanish, but again, because you can reflect cancel, instead of her jailing into her turn, you just effectively force her off of you. Depending on your character, punishes exist at this range. So, Lab Coat lost a lot of her toxic play. There's also a change to her level 3, so that it doesn't create as many bugs with characters, and they nerf the damage on her command throw as well. So, these seem like slaps on the wrist, but these are actually pretty massive for just some of the situations that she could put herself into. This also applies to her A assist. You're about plus 30 here, but that's dramatically better than being, the opponent is -30 after they reflect the assist, so there's still a bit of lockdown happening, about as much as a beam assist on block, but it's not 40 frames. That kills a lot of lockdown setups that do exist, and if you're a character that was trying to use his assist to create a 50-50, you now have reflect mind games to deal with in these situations where before it was just hold this true high-low 50-50. This is going to reduce how many teams want to play with Lab Coat because now she doesn't have a lockdown assist. This means other lockdown assists like GT Goku B, Yamcha A, Super Saiyan Goku B, to name a few, are more valuable because they have this lockdown property. Lab Coat 21 Spin Assist is a strong, fast assist that is able to get really good hits in neutral and in scramble situations, but doesn't have the lockdown utility that it has before. And I think that's going to cause a lot of teams to actually not want to play Lab Coat. And again, because of her meter penalty nerf, I think we're going to see that she is not going to be able to thrive in the anchor position, and she's going to be probably a mid character that wants to come in, spend some of the bar that you built with your battery point character, and go from there. Of those 3 characters, the one that got hit the worst by this change is Gogeta Blue. In addition to the meter penalty nerf, he also now has landing recovery on his 2H. Before you could land and instantly go into this 9-frame 2L, and that would give you a 50-50 setup situation that you could shoestring into. Those are gone now. The 50-50s that Gogeta Blue can put you in are all based off of his Rekka series and Super Dash mix-up, which is still very strong and good, but combined with the fact that he builds half the bar he used to, this is a point character that can't build battery. This character is probably going to disappear from competitive Dragon Ball fighters. I think that if you are going to play him, you want to play him with Android 17, but you don't want to play this character as a mid character. He's a character that thrives off of winning neutral with a strong neutral assist like Vegito A, and then having an assist to mix you like the old Lab Coat 21 A assist or Android 17 A assist to be able to do Rekkas and his 2H chains. But now that he doesn't build bar for himself, he's a character that wants to spend meter on dumping into supers, on using his EXTP, but now he just can't build this meter at all. He's going to be outclassed by every other point character that can build bar. He still does high damage, he can 2-touch you, but the thing is now, instead of him 2-touching you and having 2 bars left over for his team to play and spend with, this team has no bars to use anymore. So I think we're going to see Gogeta Blue completely disappear from the meta. With regards to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I think he's going to largely be fine. He does hurt from losing the Lab Coat 21 lockdown assist, but he's just going to go to other teams that give him the lockdown assist so he can set up his left-right 50-50s and true block strings. He's not going to be able to dump as much meter as he could before, just because he's not building as much of it, so he's going to feel some of the changes when he's swinging with his EX Lightning Hammer options, but he's still going to be fine. This is a character that we've seen thrive with a couple different playstyles, including just kind of a very straightforward, use the assist 50-50 left-right 2-touch approach, as well as a gimmicky, I'll say, rush the level 7 buildup. I think we're going to see his insta-kill super a lot more often because I think that's going to be a very optimal way of playing this character. So I think that Gogeta 4 is going to be fine. We're just going to be seeing him paired up with other teammates to kind of have Gogeta 4 teams, not just the meta teams. Zamasu overall should be fine. Again, he didn't suffer a 50% meter gain, and he's never really a character that you build bar with, but you spend bar with. So I think Zamasu overall is going to be in a pretty good spot. He's still the same character that he was before, and he's going to be vibing. Janemba is also a character that you don't really build out for battery. I think he's still going to be fine as an anchor. He's just not going to be able to be his resource even when he's spending things on his EX Orb setups. And he still has a lot of great tools that are very much free tools, like his projectile counter. Janemba should still be fine. I think that there are going to be some neat situations where you do feel the lack of meter combos, and you probably won't spend half a bar on some EX combos anymore just because you'd rather save the meter and be able to go into your level 3 situations and whatnot. So he's probably going to be a little more selfish with where he wants to dump meter. And considering that he has like a EX sword, Demon Slicer I think it's called, it's going to be something where he might be a little more of a conservative of a character, but he doesn't mind that. Hit is a character as well as affected by this change. I think it again means that he's not going to be able to just infinitely have the resources to constantly use his very powerful EX stance, but instead he's going to be able to do it a few times, and then he's going to have to kind of wait and be a little more conservative with his options. So these characters are probably not going to be as belligerent with some of their EX options just because they want to be able to save their meter. And if they do use those options, they're going to kind of fall behind and maybe not touch as easily as they could before. It's going to be very interesting to see these changes themselves. As I said, I'll share my own thoughts and feelings about this approach in another video where I summarize my thoughts on the patch. Anyways, I'm going to be working on the next video now.